So on the music, you'd better take somebody in here. They could record a song and just put it out there.
That's the idea. So, I mean, my passion is like students and helping them grow and teaching them music. And so that's like the primary thing. But like the recording side, I see like a definite opportunity just to bring in artists that are just like, I don't want to do the big record thing. I just want to do my own thing, be self-supported, grassroots, and I want to be tied to the blockchain to have my own ownership in things.
You're listening to the Good for Business podcast, where we feature interviews, tips, and tricks from owners, operators, and innovators throughout Mississippi and around the world. And now, your host, Colin Krieger. Welcome to this week's show of the Good for Business podcast. I'm your host, Colin Krieger, and today we have our host on, Josh Gillis, owner of Catfish Alley Studios. Welcome to the show.
Awesome. Super glad to be here, man. I love what you got going on and been excited to be a part of the ride so far.
Well, this will probably be the first of many times Josh gets to sneak on the show. He's always down the road adjusting the cameras and getting the mics working right and that sort of thing. We appreciate it. So we're going to start with the beginning. Tell me about your life story. Go.
Yeah, no. It's funny. I hadn't really thought about it a whole lot because we just literally scheduled this like an hour ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So I'm from Columbus originally and born in Amory, grew up in Columbus, lived here. I tell everybody I've got experience in 3 different school systems. I was homeschooled 1st through 3rd grade, then went to Heritage 4th through 10th, and then I ended up graduating from New Hope my senior year and went there 11th to 12th grade year. Went to University of Alabama after that. And then toward the end of that, I got like a business education, thinking I wanted to do something in business. Always been interested in that, and ended up going to seminary after that. So I always worked with youth and stuff in the youth group growing up, had a heart to help out people, and went to seminary after that, and then up in Louisville, Kentucky, and got a master's in youth and family ministry, and then worked in the church for a little while. But I was also, my first job up there was slinging paint at a paint store. So I worked at Sherwin-Williams for about 10 years, actually.
All right.
So yeah, came in there part-time. My first job in Kentucky was working at a Cracker Barrel. I had to find somewhere that could work nights and weekends. I lasted there about 3 months. And then I was like, this is just not for me. So anyway, found a job at Sherwin-Williams, ended up kind of starting a career doing that. Worked my way in from part-time to assistant to manager. Started managing a few different bigger stores. And then the next step was going to be sales rep. After that, district rep. And I could just see the trajectory. I was like, I just don't know if that's what I'm going to do the rest of my life, you know? And anyway, in 2016, I moved back home to Columbus. And at the time, there was a coffee shop for sale, and it was Beans and Cream. And so that's where I'd first met you, actually. Yeah. We were putting in a drive-thru, and you roll up. And I had no idea who you were, but I was like, hey, he seems really interested in everything going on. So we kind of hit it off, and you kind of hyped up the shop and what we had going on. And so anyway, yeah, I remember that's how I first met you anyway.
I just talked to Fields Ferguson, realtor extraordinaire, about that at the coffee shop today.
Nice.
About the drive-thru. I think you were putting in the drive-thru that day.
That's right.
And I think it was Ryan Munson who had tipped me off or something.
Oh, okay.
So,
Gotcha.
All including.
Yeah.
So you're at the coffee shop. What are you doing there?
Yeah, so I bought the coffee shop in 2016, I believe, and ran it for a couple of years. And I think through that, I was like, I just don't know if that's what I want to do the rest of my life. And I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do the rest of my life. And I'm 41 now. So, but anyway, I ended up selling the shop, and I went back into ministry. So our church that we were going to at the time needed a music guy. I was on the search committee. We weren't really having a lot of luck finding anyone. I was like, well, I'll just fill in until we find someone. Then that ended up becoming a full-time thing. Did that for 4 or 5 years. And my role kind of shifted during that from doing music to the media to booth to youth stuff. And we ended up building a house out in Steens, moving out of New Hope area. And we started going to a church, my wife's home church in Vernon, Alabama, right across the line. So that's where we're at now. So anyway, but during that time, to backtrack a little bit, we'll fill in some gaps later, I guess, but I've always taught guitar lessons part-time, and that's always been just a constant theme. It's always been 3 to 5 students, something like that. But in 2022, I remember talking to my pastor at the time, and I was like, hey, man, I think I got a shot at doing this like full-time. If I get 15 to 20 students, I think that could basically replace my income and do what I'm, kind of go from there. So I took a step out and did it, started teaching in my sunroom at the house, got about 4 students, and then that grew to 8 to 12. And then our little sunroom, I kind of outgrew that. Then we went to our little pool house, which was just a storage unit at that point. I cleared it all out, made it like my first little studio, and started teaching out of that. We grew and then got about 16, 20 students. And then I met Garrett Torbert, who I think you had on here before, or maybe that was for a commercial.
I haven't had Garrett on, but I'm going to have Garrett on.
Okay. It must have been, it was I think the dispatch guys had him on or something. But
yeah.
Anyway, so I met Garrett, and he was renting some space at the Old First Baptist Church downtown. And so I kind of rented with him a partial room there. And then I was there for a year with him. And then they moved to the Lyceum at Lee. And so they kept growing, we kept growing, and eventually became a thing where like, man, there's not enough rooms for us to both be doing stuff. We should probably, I should probably be looking for a spot. And that's when this place came open about a year ago. And
you were still, when I joined the theater for Oklahoma, you were still
teaching
had some
there.
guitars, and I think you left while Oklahoma was in production.
Going, okay, gotcha.
So it gives me a good picture of the timeline there.
Yeah. So we've been at this facility now for about a year, a little over a year now. So
and rocking and rolling. So how many students and teachers do you have here now?
So we've got, I'd say 3 teachers, Braden, Phoebe. Phoebe's husband, Brad, teaches one of our advanced guitar students. He's kind of filling in right now to help us out because we're in some employee transition, but we just hired 2 more coming on board. Ellen Jones will be teaching voice and piano, so we'll have some more availability there. And we got John Wright, who teaches bass. A lot of people know him locally. He'll be doing bass guitar and a few other things. So so that'll be about 5 of us then. So
is there a big difference, as there is in the regular world, on being you could be a world-class guitarist, but maybe not be a good teacher?
Yeah. That's usually how it goes. I'm kind of the opposite. I'm a pretty good teacher, but I'm not like, I'm not Van Halen shredding stuff, But yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. You can definitely wear out a guitar and just not connect with students and inspire them and that kind of thing. So definitely an art to it.
So have you been playing music since the day you were born?
No, my mom's pretty musical. I remember I took piano lessons when I was like 7 and hated it. I probably cried my way out of it, and just didn't really care for it. Didn't really like the theory side of it. And I don't know, I kind of shut it down. Well, then my mom, who played guitar, a little banjo, she just left her guitar laying around the house, hoping I would kind of pick it up and be interested. And one day I did. So I ended up picking it up. She showed me my first C chord. So I just walked around the house hitting that C chord all day, kind of got into it. So she got me lessons with Mr. Richard Miller, who is, you interviewed Mason Honnell. He was actually the teacher for both of us, but we didn't know it at the time. And so Richard Miller taught me some very basic, intro guitar stuff. He was more of a Chet Atkins style playing, which is more finger style picking stuff, which I wasn't crazy about, but it was a good fundamental, like learning that kind of stuff. And I remember my, grandmother told me one day, she's like, Josh, like this is back when I was first just banging around on the guitar. She's like, everybody that plays a guitar, you can play with a pick, but not everyone can play with their hands, And so if you learn how to finger style pick a little bit, that'll kind of set you apart from your everyday guitarist, And so that kind of stuck with me. So I ended up learning some finger style stuff. And, so that happened when I was like 15 and started playing with our church a little bit and our youth group. And that just kind of went from there. So
now you may not know, but you have a sister named Amy.
That's right.
Who I didn't have to connect. Were there any other siblings I need to be aware of that are superheroes or
No, I do have, yes, my younger sister, Brooke. She's a superhero. She is a mom of 4 down in Meridian. Her husband's a pastor down there, Caleb, and just awesome family. And she's definitely a superhero there. She's an incredible mom and working at the church down there in youth ministry and got some incredible kids. So
okay. Well, I'm referencing the joke there that when I started the podcast with Josh, the main reason I told him, I said, I don't want to be Joe Rogan, but I'm fascinated about our community that I'll know 2 people for 10 years and not know their brother and sister.
Right.
And then on my 5th episode, I called him. I'm like, hey, I'm going to get Amy Bogue here. And he's like, yeah, it's my sister. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Threw my papers up in the air. And Amy's incredible. I just saw she opened a gym for her employees.
Which
I
just saw that too.
Pretty awesome. considering most people don't even have a bathroom for their employees. So you took over the building here. We're downtown on Catfish Alley, which is 3rd Avenue South and College Street, right?
4th.
Fourth,
Yeah,
College Street.
4th Street South.
Close enough.
Close
And,
enough, yeah.
So tell me what kind of shape was the building in when you got it? Because it's state of the art now.
It definitely needed some work. I remember walking in here with Robert Moore, who he's with Style Entertainment. Him and Amy run that. They do wedding music and things like that. And he was like, bro, this place is in rough shape. And so we walked in. I mean, there was like a cattle gate in one of the rooms, like which I ended up giving to him. He actually could put it to use. They got a little farm out there. But anyway, it was just, the good thing is, by the way, like it was a little run down, but it was a music studio or a recording studio before. So structurally, everything was like really sound. Like Robert Staggers was the engineer guy who built this place back in the day with him and Ed back in the early 2000s, I think, or mid 2000s. But anyway, they, so like the floor, a little elevated, got some padding underneath. The walls are thick. It's got acoustic panelings above the tiles. All the rooms, by the way, if you ever look around and notice, there's always one wall that's a little wonky on purpose. That way the sound just doesn't ping back and forth and have that echoey sound. So he thought through all that stuff. All the windows have a little tilt down to them so the sound doesn't bounce in your face. And a lot of thought that went into it. So we got really lucky in that sense where, this whole place was for recording, and they probably did 90% recording, 10% lessons, maybe, or 80-20. We're kind of the opposite. We do pretty much like 90% music lessons, 10% podcasting and recording and things like that. And of course, all the recording stuff that we do, we really sub out to Braden Sansing, who is the audio engineer extraordinaire. So.
Yeah, incredible. And what was most impressive to me, not just since I've been here 3 months or whatever, but last month we had a day where you had all 3 podcasts going like at the same time.
Yeah.
And of course, visitors were coming back and forth and walking. And I've spoken to nobody noticed, one of the other podcasters. Like nobody noticed. There was no sound.
Yeah.
I've had people, until they open the door to our studio, you don't hear a peep, that's a blessing for what you're doing. I know when you started, was podcast was part of your plan, or was it mainly recording and lessons?
It was really just lessons and recording. The podcast thing just kind of came out of nowhere. We were like, we've got an extra room. It's not really built for that, but I think we could put it to use and utilize it. Maybe you'll interview David Martin at some point. I know he's in your BNI group, right?
He was. He's taking care of family now.
Okay.
And he's pretty busy because he's awesome.
Busy guy. But
he runs a clean operation.
Yes, he does.
He does pressure washing and roof washing.
That's
he's
right.
Incredible.
Great guy. Go definitely holler at him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he back when I was at the church, I remember he stopped by and we were hanging out. So we used to work together at the same church briefly. And he was just checking out what I had going on, and he mentioned something about a podcast starting his own, or maybe something for other people. And so really shout out to David, because that kind of put the seed in there. And I never really thought I would do anything really would happen, but I was like, well, if we got a room for it, might as well give it a shot. And so, that's kind of that's where the idea kind of initially kind of came from.
Yeah. And I became aware of it because of the Dispatch podcast.
Right.
And like I have a lot of friends who've thought about doing a podcast or whatever. And I think a lot of people, it's not really procrastination. And we've talked about it before. I think the quotes from Dorothea Brand, who was a personal growth person in the 1940s and 50s. Don't let perfect be the enemy of the good.
Right.
And there are a lot of people who have pretty good microphones and microphone stands just sitting in the corner of their office and the kind of camera they thought they needed. And they just didn't get to the point where it was perfect enough, so they just never did it.
Right.
And then I came and talked to you, and you're like, hey, I have a package, and it's this much money, and I do most of the work. If you need more work, it's a little more, but it's just kind of you come in, and I can do it all for you, or you can do it all. And that option hooked me, because what I was afraid of was I have to sit down and edit it, and I have to do this, and I have to do this. And I'm a fairly busy guy. I like to say busy is not a badge of honor, but I don't have 2 hours to go sit there and edit this stuff, and just have it ready made for you. And especially at a reasonably affordable price, where this is the same conversation we might have at lunch, because I ask a lot of questions.
Right.
And this is, it's a good thing. It's been phenomenal for me. And as we're going to talk about the world changing into an AI world and all this stuff, it's good to have some content out there.
Yeah.
It will not be that hard for me to create an AI Colin Krieger who
soon.
can speak on my behalf.
That's right.
So talk a little bit about that, because I know you're moving to becoming, I give you credit for already being one, a Web 3.0 studio. What does that mean?
Yeah, I love how you mentioned it earlier on in one of your previous podcasts, because I'm like, dude, we're not there yet, but it's good that you're putting the pressure on. So yeah, that, we both have a mutual kind of a business hero of Gary Vaynerchuk, and all this kind of started with there back in for me, it was 2021. When I first heard about NFTs, I didn't know what in the world that was. And I just remember Gary Vaynerchuk talking about it, how he has this project coming out called VFriends and something about NFTs and crypto. And I was like, well, I don't know. Like, I like his business advice. He seems like a great dude. I'm just going to see what this is all about. Right. So ended up getting a little crypto, some Ethereum at the time, and buying one of his NFTs. And what the brilliance of what he did was an NFT, like, if I had to break it down, actually, I printed off some notes using some AI. I got on ChatGPT.
I saw that. I was like, that's what it looks like, is a long list from...
It is from ChatGPT. So I was like, and this is kind of crazy how fast things happen. Like, I use ChatGPT a lot, and I just got on there, right before you got here, and I was like, hey, based on everything you know about me, give me some talking points. And if we talk about AI, give me some definitions that are easy to understand, So here they are. So, blockchain. What did I just say? NFT. Yeah. So NFT stands for non-fungible token. And what this says, it's a digital collectible that proves you own something, like a baseball card online, is the easiest way to think about it. And back then I was like, all right, so you're selling a digital picture of something. Why can't I just take a picture and own that image? Well, the difference is it's tied to the blockchain. And if you're familiar with the blockchain, it's basically the definition there. I'll get my little sheet here. A digital notebook that everyone can see, but no one can erase. So it keeps track of everything that happens, right? So if you tie this picture or contract or whatever to the blockchain, it proves that it is what it says it is. No one can get in there and change it because it's cryptography. It's on, you can't hack it, essentially. So anyway, I know at this point, my wife would be looking at me like I have one big eyeball on my forehead, like, all right, I'm already lost. And that's okay. Like, a lot of the stuff's it takes a little while to chew on.
Saturday Night Live had a great Eminem parody that was about NFTs that I send to people. I'll clip it in the video here so you can watch it. And it's literally the Eminem song. And it's like, I'm looking for an NFT.
Now what the hell's an NFT? Apparently cryptocurrency. Everyone's making so much money. Can you please explain what's an NFT?
And then they just go through and it really explains it pretty well.
It's perfect.
And NFTs have probably been the thing that have taken the biggest hit from crypto and AI is all that. It's an easy example to be dismissive and be like, oh, we got a picture of a monkey, blah, blah, blah. But people, what's behind it, the blockchain, and I'm good at these conversations until you ask me a question back. So I have, I'm one layer deep.
But you're on it right now.
So the blockchain can keep track of all the transaction stuff. And the blockchain is going to be very important for, I was just talking to Fields Ferguson about this, we're a year or so away from the AI videos being overwhelming, and we won't be able to tell the difference, at which a certain point, a lot of people are going to need to do stuff in real life again, like talk to people and just to find out, because there'll be a fake version of me within 2 years that's really, really good. And then other people can manipulate it. And if that stuff's on the blockchain, that's going to be the main way we'll be able to tell like a newscast is real. Like, every media outlet, every person, essentially social media outlets, are going to have to get on the blockchain and get locked so you can tell. The problem with it is that plays on my phone. Then I do a screen record and post it on Facebook. Then it won't be on the blockchain. It'll just be a screenshot of that. So, there's a theory that there'll be just apathy that'll come about because you won't be able to tell what's real and what's fake.
That's right.
So people might gravitate towards real life again. But I do think that the NFT part will come about even more, because you'll be like, hey, I have proof that this is the real copy of the movie with Brad Pitt and
that's right,
that sort of thing. So that part of it fascinates me. How does that tie into the studio?
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. Like, I think that's where things are going to. And I think Gary talks pretty deep about this kind of stuff too, where, and not that distant a future, the internet will be more of just like a entertainment. Nothing's necessarily real or original, unless it's tied to the blockchain or something like that. So it's going to be interesting to see where all that goes. Well, I got interested in how that relates to music studios because of that. I was like, well, I've heard of people putting their music on the blockchain and proving their ownership, and they can actually sell it directly to fans without a middleman of a distributor, a company paying you fractions of a penny for every song you put out, that kind of thing. You just sell directly to fans. And then since they buy it on the blockchain, you can even set it up to where they get residuals or royalties for every time they sell it to someone else, essentially. And so you can kind of self-fund these projects where used to, I don't know, Sony or whoever, like your Atlantic Records or whoever you sign with, would give you a lot of upfront money, say like $250,000 to make an album, to do whatever. You just burn through the cash however you want, but you got to pay all that back, right? And then after that, you only get a fraction of what's, distributed after that. Where this is kind of like, there was I can't remember his name now. There's a rapper out of Canada that sold 1 million copies of a song for $1 each. So 1 million fans within minutes. He made $1 million, right? Well, every time that song sold after that, I don't know what the contract said, but say like the fan gets like 80 cents and the rapper gets like 20 more cents in residuals after that, right? So there's things called smart contracts that execute these things. And back to like the real estate stuff, like if I was going to sell a piece of property, and I need what are they called? Quick deeds, I guess. Like you have to have a notary to sign it. Like you won't really need that on the blockchain because you're already proving ownership. It's tied to something digital that can't be hacked. It is what it is.
They're already using it in Europe for title work on property.
Exactly. So now it's going to be a click of a button. You don't need real estate agents or that kind of. You'll still need them. But
those are title people, so those aren't the real estate agents. So sorry, all my friends.
That's right.
Who do that work. Yeah, but it'll take longer than people think.
That's right.
Some of the stuff will be the priority of how quickly that moves. But I love the part on there because Patreon's a good example that when I talk to people about where if a musician would focus on the 10 to 15% of the people who are loyal to him, which is live and concert people, somebody like Mason could tell me like, dude, I need $8 for my album. Don't listen on Spotify. Most people, not all 100% of the people like him will do it. Mason Hunnell, we're talking about. Right. The Mississippi Mason, would do that just to support him.
That's right.
Like if Braden had something like that, I'd be like, dude, I'll buy your song for $1.
Yeah, exactly.
And those 10 to 15% of the people would be enough to make a living for a musician if they controlled the whole thing. And that's where like Patreon, which basically was the theory when it started, was like, I like you, I'll give you some money.
That's right, man.
Like I need to find something like that where I have a channel where I'm like, you just give me a little money.
Yeah, that's what they say. You just need 1,000 true fans.
Yeah, and that's what Gary Vee is talking about with the Stan thing going on now. Is like you don't think you like somebody with me with a real hyper local stuff like that. I'm like, well, can you convince 500 people to give you $6 a month, and you're doing pretty good.
That's right.
What are they gonna get? And
that's right.
A year ago, that didn't make too much sense, but to me now, with the AI stuff coming up, then the only thing AI can't fake is, hey, I saw a bulldozer today. By the way, they're finally building the Beef O'Brady's. You know what I mean? And like AI in a big city will get a hold of that and be okay, but in a small town, that stuff's charming but interesting. So on the music, you'd better take somebody in here. They could record a song and just put it out there.
That's the idea. So my passion is like students and helping them grow and teaching them music. And so that's like the primary thing. But like the recording side, I see like a definite opportunity just to bring in artists that are just like, I don't want to do the big record thing. I just want to do my own thing, be self-supported, grassroots. And I want to be tied to the blockchain to have my own ownership in things. And so that's why we called it a Web3 studio. It's like, all right, and just to briefly talk about Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3, the difference. Like Web 1 was basically like read only, like one direction. Here's the information. As a user, I consume it, right? Web 2 is more social, where you have things coming from both sides. You have someone that's contributing that you're consuming, but also you're providing content and they're consuming also, but they still own it, right? So like Facebook. If Facebook shut down today, we lose a lot of stuff because we don't own it. That's why they say in marketing, email is the bread and butter. Like you want email addresses because if Facebook will go away, at least you'll have email. Web3 is I provide the content, you consume it, but I own it, and vice versa. You own your own thing. So I can consume content that you own, you can own content that I own. And it's more decentralized, meaning like Facebook doesn't own my content, I do, right? And that's why this Stan store that Gary's talking about is such a big deal, because you're going to be able to own your information, your contacts, your community in real life as things get more crazy with AI and, people are already getting married to AI bots and stuff.
Oh, I can. That, yeah, I think he had
crazy.
said in the next 20 years, and a reporter scoffed at him, and it's already happened.
It's already happened, man. And I totally agree. Within 1 to 2 years, it'll be, this conversation that people are seeing right now could be totally digital, not even happening between us, but it'll look exactly like, and we won't be able to distinguish. So why this stuff's really important to talk about. And
well, that goes on. I talk about it with events all the time. That and 20 years ago, if I was trying to talk to people about events or even promote a restaurant, like you had to go in magazines, newspaper, TV, radio, all this sort of stuff. And then there was a beautiful time in 2019 when every single person was on Facebook and every event was on Facebook. That's right. And that was 6 long years ago. And now it's segmented all over again. Well, we're probably 2 years away from it being, it may not be on ChatGPT or on AI, but on your own. Like, you'd be able to find out every single event. Right now, if you Google everything in Columbus, Mississippi, you won't find it.
That's right.
Because Google itself is prejudiced to certain different
That's right.
outlets and other things like that, whereas AI won't care. So if anybody posts it anywhere, but it's shocking. I, again, just had a conversation with Field Ferguson about this, but like until 6 months ago, Instagram's video stuff wasn't searchable. So like you were posting stuff on Instagram and nobody could look up
around,
and like I haven't met a person yet who was like, just assumed it was the whole time. And it just wasn't, because one setting on Instagram's a website. I do remind people,
Right.
I like to say email is a social media device, and they're like, no, it didn't. I'm like, Facebook's a website, Gmail's a website. Like, this is a single page website.
That's right.
You have a sub page on it. Like, that's it. It's just a website you get to use for free. And that's what I think of all that, where like, if you're going to want to find out about Colin, it's probably going to be in one place.
Right.
Like, you can go to Linktree now, but like, I know Facebook and Instagram and TikTok are just scrambling to figure out what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And it's coming.
It is. It's gonna be really fascinating.
And on the flip side, you do have to do the stuff in real life.
Yeah.
Like, there's some work you have to do in life. I know it's a big thing in music right now, but there's people who are just AI generating millions of songs an hour just so they can go after copyrights. They're trying to find every permutation of every single thing. And from what I've seen with like ASCAP and B&I and some of the big record labels, is at some point they're going to have to, it's going to be, you used AI or you didn't for a couple of years. And then after a while, it's going to probably get overwhelming, which would be a good place to own your stuff,
Yeah. I'm just trying to kind of think ahead and, try to get ahead of the wave that is definitely coming. It's not in a scary way, but I think Gary puts it this way too. He's like, look, you don't have to worry about flocking to AI. Like, AI is coming to you, man. And you can already tell, like, if you log into any software now that's got an AI bot, it's got a help bot. I mean, it's integrated into our phones, our computers, like vehicles already. You just don't know it or think about it that way, and so.
Well, and it's still a clunky and not quite perfect. And so my daughter's up at Ole Miss trying to find an apartment, and there's an apartment complex that her friends are at, and there's nobody there. Like, there's a leasing office, but nobody's there. And every time she talks, she calls to a chatbot. And I'm like, the problem being, and her roommates have said it, they're like, well, they've been here, one of them has been there 3 years. And she's like, well, 3 years ago, I called when the sink was leaking and somebody came up, and now we talked to this chatbot thing and it misunderstands me 3 times. And like, she's probably not going to rent there because I'm concerned about what if you call, something bad's happening. And eventually that'll get figured out. But right now it's just a little clunky.
Yeah. But it'll get there. I mean, they have like cameras in fridges now. They'll be, at some point, it'll notice that you're low on eggs or whatever and just order it for you. I mean, there's stuff like that's gonna not far away as we think it is,
Well, and I've run into AI stuff. Like, part of the reason, one of my 2 reasons for starting was I didn't know Amy Bogue was your sister. And number 2 wasn't I want to be Joe Rogan, was like, I want stuff that's discoverable online.
Right.
Because more people have been calling me because they're looking on AI. And right now on ChatGPT is a meritocracy, meaning like it's fair because there's not a lot of ads on it.
Right.
Now, the last 3 months, they've signed a deal with Zillow and they've signed a deal with that. So it's ChatGPT is starting to get a little, I say molested or
more centralized. Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem is, I think they jumped. What's the line in the Social Network? Like, million's not cool. You know what's cool? A billion. And I think the industry is thinking ChatGPT has jumped the gun on this really ads because in 2 years from now, ChatGPT might be nothing.
That's right. Very
easily could be just me this concept of we don't need, the AI doesn't need your money. The only thing I'm worried about AI is obviously the electricity, and then like micro drones. Because like if I'm a robot and I'm a wonderful, smart AI overlord who knows better than all of us, and we worship you, don't attack me with micro drones. That's all I'm because that would be a logical solution to get rid of
that's
everybody.
Right.
Is
that's
just
right.
Throw some drones at us. So please don't do that. Wonderful Terminator Salvation era robot stuff.
That's right.
Very well timed, by the way. Last year in August was like the Terminator like day or whatever. So
did not know that.
Yeah, they're coming for us all. It's gonna be great. But like I said, I'm hedging my bet on AI and real life sort of stuff. So how many podcasts do you have going on here? Because I've seen more people stop by for like one-off. You've pointed like I'm gonna do one video or.
So I think we've got 4 weekly consistent ones, or that are scheduled for a week, but some, different ones, stack them, that kind of thing. And we've had some drop-ins for just miscellaneous stuff, whether it's, I want to redo my phone system on my business for answering calls and automated stuff, or we've had audio books being recorded here, some commercials, stuff like that. So some one-off things too, but right now we got 4. Now my goal is to get to 5 this year. So we're just one away from being
I think we'll get it. And I come in here like a maniac and do 4. I think we've done 5 one time.
It works out great, though.
In one day.
Right.
My plan was like, I'll come every week and it'll be part of my day. And after I get on CBI, and now I'm like, let's just get in.
Knock them out.
And it's once you're in here, once you're started, you're lost in conversation.
That's it, man. And the consistency is the key. I mean, I forgot what the stats are, but when I first looked into it, it was like not a whole lot get past the 7 to 10 episodes before they run out of steam, ideas, guests to interview, that kind of thing. So the fact, if you get up over that a dozen hump, then you've beat a lot of the odds.
Yeah, and I think over 25 is like 90-something%.
Yeah. I forget, you're in your 30s, or
we're about to
you're
30,
somewhere in the 30s there. So you're getting there, man. And that's just awesome. Yeah, but consistency is the key. It's just showing up and doing it. But I like, you seem to have it going on as far as get 4 or 5 guests in a row, boom, 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 knock them all out, and then just kind of drip them out from there. So.
Yeah, and that was part of what I realized was like, we're not going to be interviewing on too much of timeliness or something like that. And again, y'all have the quality that's competitive. Like we're always playing with the lights and figuring out that sort of stuff or what we want it to look like. And we're shooting again, just like my thing. So it's the Dispatch for a relatively small market.
Right.
So you're we've got 60% of our people are listening to the whole show, which is incredibly high for a podcast. Like they don't count Joe Rogan or Huberman because they're 3-hour shows, but like shows under an hour, usually it's like 20% of the people listen to the whole show and the rest listen like 10 or 11 minutes. So.
Right.
And we're not really trying to monetize it because it's under the general theory of like, man, I'm just trying to shine a light on some of my friends. And I've got over 100 people on my list. So like when I stumbled and didn't plan well, I had like the last 2 days, I was like, somebody couldn't do it. And I'm like, all right. Boop. Luckily you were on that list too. And
there you go.
Got a couple other people coming in today. So what do people need to know if they want to come here and record, or they want to learn? Like I got to learn, it was from Isabella at the Golden Triangle Theater, but if I want to learn to play a little piano or learn to sing.
Yeah. So like I said, primarily music lessons. So music lessons, recording, song recording, and podcasting. Those are the 3 things I ended up putting it on our door out there because I was like, all right, these are the things we're really going to focus on. So if you're interested in music lessons, the good thing is, especially if you got kids elementary age, 5 to 10 years old, you're not really sure what they're good at or what they are even interested in at this point. We always offer a free lesson to anyone who wants to come in the door and just sit down. We got plenty of guitars hanging up around here, pianos, drum sets, all that kind of stuff. So primarily teach guitar, piano, drums, voice, violin, and ukulele. And I think I'm missing one more, bass guitar. And so those are the 7 primary things we teach. And maybe we'll get into harmonica one day or something. I don't know. But
the kazoo.
Yeah, the kazoo. So, but that's it. So free first lesson. We do 45-minute lessons each week. If we go month to month. And so kind of the pitch to the parents is, look, your kid may like it, and then 3 months later they may hate it. We don't know. So we do month to month lessons and I got 3 little girls, so I kind of know what that's like a little bit. And for song recording, like we got the space for that. We got a whole setup. Or if you're a band and you got a gig coming up and you need a nightly place to practice, we can open the doors and we have a whole practice room in there with the full drum set, amps, bass amps, keyboards, all that kind of stuff you need. And then, or you could, if you got a podcast or you want to record an audio book, things like that, we offer those kind of services too. So just catfishalley.com is the main one. And then on the personal one, the one that we've been talking about, the stand store idea.
Yeah.
If you it's not published yet, but maybe by the time this comes out, it will be. But I'm going to build my own little stand store and offer more information about stuff that we've talked about with AI, Web3 technology, stuff like that. Some freebies just for people to like learn more about it. And then I'm going to offer a paid community for other teachers like me that maybe stumble into it, because I kind of stumbled into this. I never went to school for music. I just kind of picked it up as I went. It's going to be joshgillis.com, and just my name, joshgillis.com. And so, yeah, those are the two places to find us.
I have an eponymous website of colinkrieger.com, but nobody can spell my name, so I never give it out. Yeah, two things with that stand store. That it's going to be interesting, and you probably have the opportunity, and you can already kind of do it with some of the high-end AI stuff, which is a person to come in. I can theorize within a year, somebody could come in here and say, "Hey, I'd like you to create a AI bot of me on video."
Yeah.
And you film, 4 hours of video from different sides. You say a bunch of keywords, they get the tone of your voice, and then you could hand feed it and be like, "Oh, you can make the cool little videos that are like,
that's right,
hey, today in Columbus," or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's in my thought process.
That's it.
Number two, now that this podcast is coming out for sure right before the holidays, and I'm putting you on the spot, you may not be able to do this. If you've got a kid or a husband that has always dreamed of playing guitar, or you think they'd be interested in it, I'm sure Josh can work out a gift card type scenario deal. Because that's an easy gift to give. Because like if you want to force your kid, they're not going to do it.
That's right.
But if you're like, "Hey, I got you a guitar. Here's a guitar and some guitar lessons."
That's right.
So if you've got the 50-year-old theater student who wants to learn piano, like said host Colin Krieger here, that's something you could think about giving them for Catfish Alley Studios. Plus, y'all have a lot of cool merch.
I appreciate
They've
it.
got the best hats
Thanks.
in the business.
There you go. Thank you.
So that's a youthful hat there. I've got a cool trucker hat. They got stickers and all kind of other stuff. So
Yeah.
what else is on your list there? Well, we got 3 or 4 minutes left.
Oh, yeah. I just ChatGPT. What is Catfish Alley Studio? Building toward this thing, collaborating local businesses. Entrepreneurial thread. I don't know. I could talk about some other stuff I've done in the past, but that was pretty much it. Just talking about Web3 and kind of where things are going and making the local impact. So, I mean, really, I've just learned a lot about, I've swapped businesses so much. When I was a kid in 4th grade, we were studying rocks and minerals. And so I come from a line of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So my dad and granddad are entrepreneurs. And I remember my dad saying, "Look, man, your great-grandmother's got these cool-looking rocks. What if you bought one, busted it up into little pieces, and then sold the little pieces to your classmates," right? So we did. And there's like this really cool opaque-looking rock. Got the hammer out, put our goggles on, busted it up, sold these little rocks, and it was called Josh's Rock Shop. In 4th grade, I made $40, and then I was like, "Dude, I'm rich." And so I went and bought a Game Boy. Back then, it was the Game Boy that didn't even have like a lighted screen or a colored screen, like the OG one. And I bought a little adapter that was like a magnet, or not a magnifying glass, and a little light so I could play at night. So that was my first purchase as making my first real money in 4th grade.
Well, that's why I've said it on the podcast before. I said that's why kids, adults are always asking kids what they want to do when they grow up. It's because we're looking for ideas.
Yeah.
And I used to break up potato chip bags and resell them and resell candy in high school. I made serious money. I got in trouble a couple of times for it. But just selling that in the basement of the school and parsing it out.
Yeah.
Of course, all people have several careers of varying degrees of success. And,
that's right.
I think you're in the right spot, being positioned in not only a creative field, something that happens in real life that connects with people with the music and singing and stuff, but still hedging your bet on the AI stuff. Like, I'm trying to be just aware of it enough. I think the big difference between this and other stuff is that the adoption rate is unavoidable. Like with AI, being a Web3 studio, all that. I know we're talking more about AI than we are about the actual studio, but it'll be unavoidable. Like, it's already, like I said, it's a big part of people's lives already, and I'm starting to having a lot harder time telling the difference on the fake videos on my phone.
Same, man. Now that Sora came out or whatever, it's wild, man. But I guess last thing I thought of that I'll say is just like, you're talking about the learning curve, about getting hip on all this stuff. Like, that's kind of a heart that I've got too, just for our community. Like, growing up, kind of, it was a joke that Columbus seemed to always be 5 to 7 years behind the times on things. And I'm like, well, we have an opportunity to get ahead on the times, right? So just a couple weeks ago, I went and upgraded a truck, and I did a partial payment in Bitcoin. But the idea is not doing that. It was just like, well, let's try to put a little bit of this stuff forward, at least hype it up a little bit to say this stuff's happening. It ain't here yet, but it's coming, And so, but yeah, just to kind of get the conversation going, and Mississippi's investing a lot into new tech and building facilities and all that kind of stuff. So we want to try to help aid in that. And so I think some of my passion just for digging my heels in my own community, raising my kids here, I want to succeed. I want to bring all this new tech to Columbus and at least educate people. If that's all I can do is just educate people about what's going on, then that's going to be a win,
Well, of course, which fits perfectly in our conversation. The best part about that, it was on the front page of the print newspaper, the Bitcoin thing, and I was like, "That's great," because that sums up both things: is that we have to do this in real life, and that's what I'm excited about for continuing to do the podcast. A year from now, we'll be at 100-something episodes. But
that's right.
We're crossing the 30 barrier today. So
yeah, man, that's exciting.
Well, thanks for hopping in. If you need anything, come find Catfish Alley Studios on 4th Street South.
There you go.
Behind everything, but it is in Catfish Alley. And go to joshgillis.com or Catfish Alley everywhere in the world.
There you go.
All right.
Thanks, Colin.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Hey, guys. Thanks for listening to the podcast. My name is Colin Krieger, and my day job is real estate. If you're looking to buy or sell, I'd love to talk to you. Or if you just want to sit and talk real estate in a no-pressure situation, I'd love to help you. I work with RE/MAX Partners in Starkville, Columbus, and West Point, Mississippi. I can help you find an agent anywhere in Mississippi or anywhere in the country. Just reach out to our office at 662-327-7705 or find me anywhere when you type in 662-329-SOLD.